Such is the success of the racing this year that this weekend we've got 67 cars entered to race, which means classes have been split. This next race is Class A cars only, which alone should allow for some pretty close and exciting racing. However, with this weather somewhat unsettled and some really dark clouds looming, that should also add an extra spice to the racing. Here's David Addison with the grids.
And the first of these races then has an enormous field. We've got 28 Class A cars alone making their way around to the grid, and one of the cars is a regular one in the series, that of Paul Golding, but with another different driver behind the wheel. Single-seater hot shoe Jamie Stanley takes over the car for this weekend, and he inevitably is going to be a man to beat because he starts on pole position. There's another experienced driver at the front as well. That's Paul Quinn, former ARP Formula 3 champion, and Michael Edwards is third on the grid. Martin Roberts has gone well in qualifying. He lines up fourth ahead of James Knight and then Stuart Kirkbride. Hans Bamhart getting quicker all the time is seventh. Paul Patterson lining up alongside him. And regular front runner Gavin Kirby, a poor qualifying. He is only ninth on the grid. Lower down the grid, Tom Chataway and Tony Verrier line up 14th and 15th, and Chris Pearson switches into Class A this weekend. He will line up 16th on the grid, just ahead of Graham Walsh. Matthew Bartlett, though, has a problem on the green flag lap, and his car pushed off the circuit. He's going to be a non-starter, whilst the newcomers Adam Hamilton-Fletcher and Steve Owen round out the grid. It's going to be a 20-minute race then. The cars making their way up to the grid at the end of the green flag lap. The lights in a moment will go red. Now, who's going to make the best start when the lights go out now? On board with Michael Edwards. He gets a great start. Jamie Stanley slow away from the line. And it's going to be Edwards then who grabs the advantage on the run up towards paddock for the first time. Paul Quinn on the outside of him. And Jamie Stanley has made a really slow start in comparison. He's going to be, fourth as they turn into paddock for the first time, although he may get third on the inside of Martin Roberts going up towards Druids for the first time. But a very good start indeed from the second row of the grid. Michael Edwards then on the inside as they pile into Druids. That's Roberts locking up and going wide. Gavin Kirby through on the inside of him. The circuit is pretty slippery. There's ominous clouds as well, which may well be emptying themselves pretty soon and going to make the track even more treacherous. And these relatively inexperienced drivers, many of them tiptoeing round on the first lap of the race. Out of Graham Hill Bend, along Cooper Straight for the first time. The race leader in the silver car then is Michael Edwards, but right on his tail is Paul Quinn. Jamie Stanley recovering, he's now third. Gavin Kirby is fourth, but normally Kirby is the man to beat in Class A. Martin Roberts is fifth as they turn their way up through clearways for the first time. End of that one, over the line. There you can see Bartlett's car in the background, but it's Edwards leading, Quinn second and Jamie Stanley third, and these three now starting to break away from everybody else as they turn their way through paddock. And now Paul Quinn, they're right on the tail of Edwards, looking to try to make a move on the inside. The door is closed, he goes to the outside. Side by side into Druids, he locks up, scuttles a little bit wide, and Jamie Stanley now looking for a way to try to capitalise on that. He can't quite duck up the inside. Gavin Kirby still fourth. But now it is getting damper here at Brands Hatch. That means the track's going to get more and more slippery, and this will be a real test of the drivers. Battles raging on right the way through the field. 45 there, Peter Driver. He's got Steve Owen battling with him, and this at the moment the fight for penultimate place as they come down towards Graham Hill Bend. And it's proof of just how successful the series has been that we've got such a big entry here this weekend. 2 scratch races, 2 handicap races as well, and as the cars file their way up through McLaren in the back of the field, the leaders are already over the line. It's Edwards from Quinn, and Quinn now challenging on the inside. Paul Quinn has got the line for paddock, and he's got the lead as well. Good bit of driving that. Paul Quinn goes through, uses all of the road right up towards the white line on the outside of the circuit, and that puts Paul Quinn into the lead of the race now. Right on his tail there is Edwards and Jamie Stanley in the car owned by Paul Golding. That won a race at Donington in the hands of Martin Donnelly in third place now, looking to find a second position out of this race, if not the lead, before the very end. More of them piling their way through Paddock Hill Bend, climbing up towards Druids. Somebody in the background there getting a little bit crossed up as the cars have just started to separate themselves a little, and now you can see the drivers that are the more experienced and or the braver being able to push a bit harder in these conditions. Good fight on for fourth though. Gavin Kirby just ahead of Martin Roberts there. The rest of the field filing through offline here, going towards Graham Hill Bend and then up towards Surtees. It's pretty slippery. The racing line is bone dry. That's helping the race leaders then get away. The rest of the field file through. 64 there, Tony Verrier making his way up through the right-hander of McLaren. He's got Peter Driver on his tail. At the head of the field though, it remains a fight between the big three as far as this race is concerned. Michael Edwards, Paul Quinn and Jamie Stanley. Paul Patterson turning his way around Druids. Just about everybody has got somebody to battle against him. This is one of the beauties of the Lotus on Track in these trophy. 2 of them absolutely side by side there. Look, number 49 is Steve Benzel. He's got 35 Stuart Rush with him. Down through Graham Hill Bend they come along Cooper Straight. wipers on. It's still very treacherous indeed here at Brands Hatch. This series will be getting this young started here on the Indy circuit. It's going to finish at Brands as well, and it could finish even earlier for Elgin Howell there, who has a big lose. Thankfully, everybody avoids him, but that could have been very nasty indeed for him. Elgin Howell's Exige S2 then, off the road. He's going to be able to rejoin, I would have thought, in a moment as the leaders now pour over the line. Paul Quinn leading. Michael Edwards now challenges on the inside. He's going to go through as Paul Quinn tries to hang on in there on the outside, and he's just kept his nose in front. He's on the outside line though for Druids. Not only now is Edwards on the inside attacking, but Jamie Stanley is looking for a way through as well. Michael Edwards hangs on to the advantage around the hairpin. Quinn second, Stanley third, and this is for fourth as Martin Roberts then in his rather taped up car on the inside challenges Gavin Kirby, and that is going to give Martin Roberts the place then. The Elise goes through on the inside in Martin Roberts' hands, and you can see the pair of them now being caught as well. Paul Harding is behind them in number 69 as they climb the hill towards Druids. The Class A drivers in the standard cars often a bit overshadowed by some of the quicker cars in the series when all the classes run together, but here at Brands this weekend they're taking centre stage, having their own standalone races. So Martin Roberts then now up into fourth place. Gavin Kirby slips back into fifth, but he's still coming under pressure, isn't he? Because there's Paul Harding, there's James Knight and others all queuing up behind. Around the hairpin there, 64 is Tony Verrier. He's lost out, in fact, this time to Peter Driver. And those two nose to tail now as they make the run down towards Graham Hill Bend once again. Through that tight left-hander now onto Cooper Straight, and you can see just how black and ominous those clouds are overhead here at Brands Hatch, and as soon as they start depositing their contents, the track is going to become so treacherous. Most people now running with the wipers, not everybody, but the track is getting more and more slippery all the time. That means the lap times are going to go up. Chris Pearson slides his way around Druids, gets all crossed up and makes contact. Look there, he turns around 47, Paul Patterson's car, and very nearly gets collected as well. They're all going to be able to survive that, but that was very close indeed. It's a miracle there wasn't more damage done as the leaders are almost three abreast this time coming over the line. Up towards paddock, Paul Quinn on the inside, Michael Edwards on the outside of him, and Edwards gets a little crossed up. Quinn brakes very late, he's going to run out of road. He does, he goes into the gravel, bounces his way back onto the circuit. Edwards leads, Stanley goes second, and Paul Quinn rally crossing his way back onto the circuit, has thrown it away there. He's still fighting for traction. Look as the car gets all sideways coming around the hairpin at Druids, but now it's a two-way fight really for honours. Michael Edwards ahead of Jamie Stanley, who's had to recover after that poor start. 69 there, you can see Paul Harding going around the outside, and there's another spinner in the background. That's Steve Wenzel going off. Further proof, if you needed it, of just how treacherous the track has become here at Brands Hatch. On board though now with Michael Edwards. Is this the man who's going to score victory in this Class A race? There's another car ahead that spins right ahead of the race leader. Right the way around goes Simon Deacon. The leaders managed to avoid him. Jamie Stanley and Paul Quinn still second and third, but that would have given Edwards a real scare. Through the hairpin there, number 99 you can see is James Knight. He's somebody else looking to make a good finish, I think, in this final race of the series as the leaders for the last time come through paddock. Stanley and Quinn, the two with the greater experience really in this leading battle, but Michael Edwards fending them off. Stanley and Quinn you saw using lots of road as they went through paddock down towards Graham Hill Bend. Now, can Jamie Stanley do anything about grabbing the lead on the last lap? He takes a tighter line out of the corner there, looking to try to get the whole shot on the inside as they come along Cooper Straight. Now to challenge here, he's going to have to go offline to do it where it's a little bit more slippery. And Michael Edwards keeps his nose in front. He's got the better line, the drier line, the line with more traction therefore up towards McLaren as Paul Quinn challenges on the inside as well, and he retakes second place. Great bit of driving that. Towards the line they come, checker flag at the ready. It's going to be a win for Michael Edwards, who comes across the line to win the Class A race in the Lotus Elise Trophy. Second is Paul Quinn, and third is Jamie Stanley, and Michael Edwards' victory margin being just 0.391 of a second. A delighted race winner as he now makes his way onto the Brands Hatch winners' car. He's going to be joined there by Paul Quinn and Jamie Stanley. There is Jamie, ruining no doubt the fact that it wasn't really the best of starts, and he also ran wide coming through McLaren on the last lap, and that gave second place back to Paul Quinn. But Michael Edwards, a delighted winner. So confirmation of the way they finished. Edwards, Quinn and Stanley the top three. Martin Roberts took fourth ahead of Paul Harding. James Knight sixth ahead of Stuart Kirkbride, and Gavin Kirby only eighth ahead of BJ Chong, and Paul Patterson rounding out the top 10.
So Jamie, what happened to your start?
Yeah, I made a bit of a mess of that. I mean, I blame the damp line. There was much drier on the normal racing line, and just didn't quite get away off the line. At my practice start, when we went away for the green flag, I got so much wheel spin. I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I got away as best I could, I think, and it all went a bit wrong from there on in. Less than 12 months ago, I hadn't raced some of the guys here, and they've come a long way. Like this is Mick's first year, and he's done so well to be that competitive at the sharp end of the field and go 3 abreast in the paddocks. It's quite good entertainment, really.
You drove an incredible race. Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely amazing fun. Really good, really good.
And certainly you had a touch and go moment with the gravel. What happened?
I was just driving too fast and I slid off the track, and I don't know how I managed to get it out the gravel and keep the car straight. It was fishtailing all the way through the gravel track. I got the other side and I hadn't lost that much time, so amazing, really.
So you got to be happy with that. An incredible race.
I'm really happy, really happy. I've had a lot of bad luck this season with races, and that's made it work for me. That's fantastic. I'm really pleased. Really hard race. Hung on to dear life to the dear end. It was great. Beginning of the year I couldn't have done that, and I think that's what the Lotus Elise are all about. We're all having a great time, we're getting faster, that's for sure, and we're enjoying it, and that's the main thing, isn't it? It's brilliant, great series.
Wow, exciting racing just as predicted with Class A cars, and a really close battle between the top 3. Don't go anywhere, coming up right after the break, it's Classes B and C.